What is special about being Filipino?
What's special about a Filipino? We're not white.
Let me start. I'm Filipino. My dad is from Ilocos Norte in the Philippines, and my mom is Visayan.
I'm half Filipino, and then my dad is he's white, but he's like culturally Jewish and Filipino, which is kind of interesting. It's like a mix of kind of races, also religion, because the Philippines is like quite Catholic. So mix in all regards. Jewish culture and Filipino culture, though, are pretty similar in the fact that family is a huge priority. So like Jewish people like really have big families. They all come together for these big gatherings. In Jewish culture, it's really common that after like every holiday you celebrate, you eat like a really big meal together, like a huge feast. So like they're always with the family, always together. So that's kind of a commonality between the two. So my family ties on both ends are really strong.
I grew up mostly white neighborhoods, so I was probably the only Asian, and just kind of lumped into Asian, that group. So being able to share that I was Filipino was important to me, for sure. I think that a lot of people, as I was growing up, if I hung out with a lot of Filipinos, they thought I was whitewashed. In fact, they would call me that many times. And when I was with my white friends, I was always the Asian one, like trying to answer questions from all cultures when I was Filipino. So those were my personal challenges until just recently with the Asian hate and the attacks on our elders. They've been paying attention? Has the media been paying attention to the Asian community, right? So before that, I thought we were pretty much invisible. But growing up, I think I just wanted to fit in like everybody else, right? And because I was first generation, my parents also wanted to assimilate as much as possible.
But I identify with my like Asian culture a lot, like the Filipino culture. Like I fully identify as Filipino. So kind of my whole life has been really trying to like prove to the outside world that I actually am Filipino. So it's like, no, I know the food. Like I know how to make lumpia. I can roll it for you right now. Like let me show you. Like I get different generations, the like intergenerational thing. Like we just grew up in really different times when like now different cultures are being way more appreciated than I guess like assimilation's not really a thing. Everyone wants to be unique, and so it's a whole different view that we're coming growing up in, or I did grow up in, I guess.
I was going to say, what is special about being Filipino?
What's special about a Filipino? We're not white.
What comes to mind when you hear Asian joy?
Yeah. So for me, whenever I hear Asian joy, I think of family first, for sure. I think of food, and I think of lots of people together, right? I just don't think of one person or me just having joy. So I think it relies on having other people and just laughing.
And like maybe this joy that we're kind of like really reaching for, it just comes from within yourself. And I have years to work on that.
I also associate joy with collectiveness, right? And then like finding joy within yourself is a really great thing to attain.
I've always learned that your family is kind of the most important thing, and that you always be there for them, and they're kind of your number one priority.
My mom, she's a great cook, so that's how she shows her love, right? She just cooks all the time. And my dad, he's a retired electrical engineer, so he fixes and makes everything. So if anything goes wrong in our house, he will be the first person to come and fix it, and that's how he showed up. He was always there for that. So I think that's something that stayed with me, and I try to be the same way for my family and my extended family.
Family is honest love. You have to stick with one another. It's just a family, even a neighbor, So there's no difference in there.
Yeah.
So just mutual love
Yeah.
and respect.
And I do think it ties back into what she's saying about showing up. And I think that doesn't necessarily have to be your biological family, but family is just the people that show up for you and that you want to show up for. That is really the sole most important thing to me about family, is just showing up for each other and always being there and being willing to show up for someone else too. Like, it's a two-way street.
One thing to think about is if you have a family member, for me, that is doing so great and always seems strong, that you still check in on with them, right? So that you're supporting everybody, not just the people that show that they need the support, but also checking in on others that seem okay. And the great thing about this generation is that social media makes that so easy to do. 5 years, this is like what I wish would happen, right? That people were treated with respect, people are treated equally, that there's more equity in the workplace, that women can speak out more, that we get paid the same as men, you know, and that other people, when they have privilege, that they can acknowledge that they have privilege and use that privilege to uplift people that don't have it. That's my biggest thing.
I think that in 5 years, when I look back at this, something I really want to remember about this time is, I guess, how like willing people become to put in the work about learning about other people's cultures. So I mean, I think it started really picking up like mainstream ground with like BLM and stuff, but now people are being so aware and like really wanting to learn about this stuff and learning how to help, and just like, and I just hope that we don't forget that or like lose this kind of like fire and drive, because I think it's so important. So in 5 years, don't forget it, keep doing it, and if it's dying out, like relight the fire, because this is what needs to be happening.